Dreamweaver is you should have created a new file. This is going to be our tables. You should have clicked on the body, gone to Insert, Table, and we decided that for this layout we need 4 rows, 1 column, and that the width was 920. We can leave a one border. Actually, let's take out the border for now. We'll just leave it so it's blank. And then we'll click OK. And I'm going to go into Design View so I can see what's going on. So I'm switching it to Design View, and because I don't have a border, I just want to see what's going on here.
How would you get rid of the border if you have one?
If you want to get rid of it, you just click on the table, and then where it says border. So down here, if I click on table, border 0. Or in the code, if you see border, you could type in 0. All right. So if I look at my layout here, it looks like I could 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 5 cells up there. Now, if I split up my cell here, it's going to mess up the rest of the formatting. So rather than doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a table at the top that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So it's going to be 1 row, 5 columns, and that's how I'm going to separate my content in there. Does that make sense? So I'm going to put my cursor in here. So it's in the inside of this table data. I'm going to go to Insert Table, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 row, right? And I'm going to do 1 for the logo, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. Now the table width currently is set to 920, but rather than having to deal with having to resize this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to percentages, and I'm going to set the percentage to 100%. And the reason why I'm going to do this is because if the table expands for whatever reason, I won't have to come back here and update this. It'll just expand to the table width. Does that make sense? We will also set the border thickness of this to 0, and then we'll click OK. So what we have now is the basic structure for our copy. So what I'm going to do is in the, not the first one, but the second, third, and fourth, and fifth one, I'm going to just type in the navigation. So I'm just going to type in home. What are they? Why? Company info.
But they're not.
And then I'm just positioning these. I'm just grabbing these column, and I'm just kind of positioning them roughly to where I think they should be. I'm not going exact right now, but that's okay. If I wanted to right now, why don't we also go in and we'll just create these hyperlinks since we're in here. So for home, obviously here, I'm just going to type in home, or we'll call it index, right? Index.html. This is going to be what.html. y.html, and then info.html. Index.html, what.html, y.html, and company info. So the goal right now for me is just going to be to get everything in its position, and then I'll format it with style sheets and all that stuff later. So next up is I need to place the logo here. Before I do that, I'm going to go to File, Save, and in my exercise 8 folder, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call that folder Tables. And I'm going to save this as index, and I'm going to save this index file in this tables folder. So inside of exercise 8, I created a new folder called tables, and I'm calling it index.html, and I'm going to hit save. Okay, so we're going to hop back into Photoshop now. So I am showing you guys different methods for exporting content out of Photoshop and how to recreate it in Dreamweaver. You can use all of these methods interchangeably. So just because I'm going to show you something now and we're doing it with the tables, doesn't mean you can't do it for the CSS. Doesn't mean you can't do it for slices. Okay? I'm just trying to give you an arsenal for how you can get assets out of Photoshop and how you can assemble them in Dreamweaver, and they can all work together. Does that make sense? All right. So Photoshop and Dreamweaver work very well together, and one of these cool features is we can actually copy and paste imagery from one and paste it into the other. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this feature called copy merged, and what that does is it temporarily flattens your image and copies it, and then it allows you to then have that in the clipboard. In the past, before this, what we'd have to do is we'd have to go to File, Flatten, so the image is flattened, copied the image, and then brought it into Photoshop. Now it does it for you automatically. So we're going to select our Marquee Select tool, rectangle marquee tool. Make sure your feather is set to 0. And then you're going to draw a box around the logo like that so you can see the marching ants. Then you're going to go to Edit. You're going to go to Copy Merged. So what that did is it temporarily flattened your image, right? And then it copied this into the clipboard. Now we're going to go back into Dreamweaver. We're going to put our cursor in this first table data right here in our navigation, and we're going to do Command V or Edit Paste. As soon as we do that, we'll see the image placed in here, and over here we have to decide what format we want this. There's a bunch of presets, right? So ping for logos and text. We could,
need some help here. Sorry.
okay. So for now, for this one, let's do I think we can get away with a ping 8. So let's do a ping 8. Let's uncheck transparency, and then we'll click OK. When we're asked to save this, you need to save it into the ex8 tables, and I'd like you to create a new folder in here called images. You're going to create a new folder in here called images, and this is going to be called logo.
Not sure. I think it's
Yeah, you're going to save it as a document.
Oh.
So, so close this, or do a file save as, and save it as index.html. You want to get out of design view, switch it to live view. I mean, live view is good. And then you're going to paste the logo in that first cell. You're going to bring ping 8, the logo, up, and then click OK. And then you're going to create a new folder in here called images. And then create, and you're going to rename this to logo. Alright, is everyone good? Alright, so I'm going to hit save. We have our logo now, we have our navigation. So next up is this big image here. So I'm going to do the exact same process. I'm going to click on my marquee select tool, and I'm going to put my cursor on the top of that wood texture all the way to the bottom of the wood texture. So I have the marching ants all around the wood. I'm going to go to Edit, Copy Merged. I'll come back here, and then I will edit paste. Now this is a big image, and I don't want to save it as a ping because the file format I think will be a little too big. So I'm going to select JPEG, and 80% compression looks good. File size of 190K looks good to me as well. So format JPEG, quality 80, click OK. It's going to ask me to save again. I'm going to locate my tables images folder, and I'm going to call this main image. So this is going to be my main image. Saving it into the images folder, and I'm going to hit save.
No. Go to the bottom.
All right. So with this file here, I see that this looks like it's 2 columns, and I have a choice here. I could either insert another table, or I think I would be okay here to just split the cell, because it's only, I don't have anything else I'll need to split or anything else. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this, not the footer cell, but the cell above that. And in my properties panel, I have this little icon that says split cells into rows or columns. So again, I put my cursor here, I click this little icon here, and what I want is 2 columns, right?
Yes.
So I'll click then OK after I click on the 2 columns.
Which icon did you click?
Right here. If you roll over it, it should say split cell. First you have to click into the table data, and then you should see that icon. And then you want to do columns too. So now that we have that, we can kind of split our content. We can go back into Photoshop, select our T tool for text. We can select the text, copy it, and we can just paste that text over. So just go into Photoshop, click on the T tool, text tool, select the text, copy, and then just paste it. And then what I'd like you guys to do on your own real quick is take the image on the right, and I'd like you to bring that over into Dreamweaver into a format you feel is appropriate. There's no right or wrong format. I just like you to try to do it on your own.
Get the sticky notes in the right?
Yeah, you're gonna this one over here. I'd like you to bring this over into Dreamweaver and place it on the right side.
You just copy the mouse. When you grab the image, would you try to like get it right in the middle of that text? Or would you try to like
I would give it a white. I would give it a white area so you have that natural border around it. It'll help with formatting later. Alright. So what you should have done is you should have grabbed the marquee tool, selected the sticky note, edit copy merged, then brought it over into Dreamweaver, pasted it, and then again, format wise it doesn't really matter. I'm going to just do JPEG, and I'm going to do it at 80 again, and I'll click OK. I'm going to save it into EX8 table images, and it could be called anything. I'll just call it sticky. So for my image here, I can select in this table data area here, and where it says horizontal, I can click center, so I can center the image in the cell over here. Alright, so last up is going to be the footer. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into Photoshop, and the text is in two different the text is in two different text fields. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to select the terms and policies first, paste it in, hit shift return to create a soft enter, come back, click on the copyright, copy, and then paste that in. So again, after policy, you're going to hit Shift Return. So this way you get a clean page line break, and then the copyright. So again, I'd like you to try on your own to center these using the table data property. Try to do it on your own using the table data property to center your text. Are you can you not select it? I got it. Okay. It's because you had return instead of shift return. So that it, oh, you have two breaks. That's right. So just replace that break. So after policy is shift descend. Get this up here after that break. But paste it in. You can go back. We'll get rid of that. What comes with it? You have another sheet tag on the break. Here, right after it. So you got do it closer to say it.
Oh.
All right. So what you should have done is clicked on the cell here, and then in your properties panel, gone into horizontal center, and your it should have been centered. So next up here, if we wanted to, there's the background color. We can change the background color to this background color. Where is my eyedropper? All right, so it's 33201D. 33201D. So I'm clicking on the table cell down here, and then here I'm going to do pound sign or hashtag 33201D. All right. So now that we have all this, what we're going to do is we're going to update our navigation links. So up here, what we're going to do is we'll just create a generic class up here called nav, and then for the nav, anything that's a link, we're going to get rid of the underline, we're going to turn it to gray, and then we're going to create an overstate for them. Does that make sense? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this. We'll just click on this first cell right here, right next to the logo. And does everyone see this right here? You should see this is the table data. There's a table row, table body, and then the table. This is the table for our nav. Everyone have that? We're going to click on this table, not this one. There's two of them, remember? There's our main table and then our nav table. We're going to click on this table right here. And we're going to create, we'll make this an ID and we'll call this nav. So by entering nav after we clicked on that, what you should see in your code is you should see something that says table width, border 0, and then an ID called nav. How many navs are we going to have per page? Probably one, right? So it would be appropriate for an ID. Alright, so now what we need to do is go into our CSS designer. We're going to, again, define in page. If you're really developing a website, it would be an external style sheet, but just to keep management easier on this, we're going to define in page. We're going to click the new selector, and we're going to do # because this time it's an ID. So we need to select # and then nav, and we're going to hit return. Then we're going to uncheck show set. For our text font family, we're going to switch this to the Lucida Grand. And right now, if we change the color here, would anything happen?
No.
No, because these are all hyperlinks. They're not text. So that's good for right now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new selector, and this one is going to be #nav, but this time we're going to do space A. Space A means that if there's any active links inside of the table called nav, apply this to them. Does that make sense? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our text decoration and we're going to do none. As soon as we do, if you click on the text and you go down and you click none, all the underlines should go away. We're going to switch the color to a light gray. That work for everyone? Okay. If we wanted to, we don't need to, we could add some margin to give it spacing as well. But for right now, what I want to do is an overstate. So I'd like the overstate to be the neon, we'll do it a yellow. Okay? So to create an overstate for these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Add Selector again. And I'm going to do the exact same thing, #nav, space A, except this time I'm going to use what's known as a pseudo code. And I'm going to do colon. And you'll see that it says hover state, the hover, :hover. I'm going to click on hover. Then I'll come in here and I'll just do the color picker and I'll pick this yellow. I'm going to make it a little brighter. And then what should happen if I would go to live view is I should see the yellow rollovers happen. So after you've done the hashtag nav a:hover, and you just change the color to any color, but I chose the yellow, you should be able to go to live view, and you should be able to roll over your images or your text. Did that work for everybody?
Yeah.
You have to be in live view to see it. You cannot see it in design view.
Oh, you put a space. It's not space. So, okay. Yeah,
For some reason it's blue.
All right, everyone good? All right. So on your own, what I'd like you to do is format this text down here and call it a class called content and do the exact same formatting you did last time. Okay? So I'd like you to try to do that on your own.
So what are we doing to that text?
The same thing we did last time. You're going to add padding. You're going to add a color. I just want you to try to do it on your own this time.